Hello, everyone, and welcome to the No Basic Podcast. I am AJ, and with me are Austin and Lucas. It's been a couple weeks since our last episode, and so we have some things to catch up on, but we have a lot to talk about today. And yeah, let's just go ahead and go around the room and let everyone know what everyone's been up to.
Uh, you
Austin?
know, Work. We all work, so
Yeah.
we're never gonna have like a stable schedule right now. But Luke, went to a couple events, couple cups. Um, I did pretty well, and I'm trying to think. In our last I talked about the time I cut finally. So, and I did it again this
Yeah.
past time.
hmm
So that was cool. It was a top eight. It was a bigger cup, so they actually had a top eight instead of a top four. But
Nice.
I got sixth place with Lugia. Um, so it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lucas, how was your runs?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I forgot that was
I
the.
play I play Charizard. Um,
His round
did
one
not have
opponent. His round one opponent was a scumbag. I'm telling
a
you.
uh me and my good buddy Austin here faced
Yeah, round one.
Uh,
round one, and I honestly can't remember the
I think
game too
I
well.
got set up really fast, and I know your prizes were really bad. That's what I remember.
Yeah,
It wasn't too Pidgey's prize bad, but I know it was bad.
yeah. I mean,
It happened,
part of the game, the variance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we actually haven't faced each other in a tournament in a while too.
hmm
I guess the time before that when we were in the finals in the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like
I feel
before
like
that,
feel
it's
like the round one match. I always like wonder if there's someone in the comments that could let us know, because it happens from time to time where none of us pre-register, so we go there, we register,
mm-hmm.
in store, and then it feels like we get matched up round one, and I'm
Yeah,
wondering if it's like they just don't,
yeah, because we sent in
you
our deck
know.
list at the same time.
hmm
Like I had both his and mine, and just gave it to the
So I don't
guy.
know if
That's
Tom
happened a
randomizes it.
lot. It's
hmm
always like the first round too. I feel like there could be
Because me
30
and
people
AJ, it
there.
happens, it feels like every two or three tournaments,
Yeah,
we
Yeah.
get, it feels like it's always a challenge where it happens
yeah,
at.
hmm
yeah,
But they are smaller tournaments, so,
yeah.
just, it's inevitable you're going to face,
But
you know,
I had my own, I guess, cup experience when you
oh
guys were at a cup,
yes,
but
yes.
I had to work that day, so I got off a little bit later. And so I was able to go to a cup, but it was a Pokemon Go cup. Um, as much as my tweet blew up that about that
Mhm.
event, it was intentional of me going. It was a little bit of a bait, but some people thought I was being for real about just showing up to the wrong type of cup. But yeah, I got completely bodied. I knew I was in for a rough time when my opponent looked at my team list and spent about he whipped out headphones, put them in, and spent about 5 minutes analyzing my team sheet and picking his team. Like, okay, this
Jesus
guy knows what's
Christ.
up. Yeah, and he was a world competitor for Go. There were a couple people there. It was only 5 people, and
Massive turnout
yeah, it
for
was
them.
5 people. They almost had a 6 person do it, but he didn't want to. So, um, it was only 5, and unfortunately, I got a bye on the second round, and another player also got a bye. I think he had the bye in the third round. So pretty much it just came down to resistance on which one of us didn't get points, and it was me who got bubbled
Wait,
again for like
bubble
the
for fifth.
third cup in a row.
Yeah,
Not even going out of the TCG, I'm still bubbling.
fifth is your
So
nightmare. Fifth place is
yeah,
hey, at
nightmare.
least you're consistent, man.
at least I'm consistent. You're right.
Yeah, now
Fifth
you need
place
to get
gang,
Just
but
gotta get those
you
numbers
gotta get
up.
those fifth place out of regionals, and then you'd be feeling some type of
yeah,
way.
yeah, that I would be cool with. But so yeah, I mean, well, once we hear regional dates, we can actually plan that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next year we're gonna try a lot harder. Like this year's been our kind of. getting
Come
back
back.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like we're actually doing like better than what we usually done. Like
You're
I mean,
definitely
I
doing
would.
better.
I'm doing better, but like just
Um,
like
I'm.
I don't know.
I think I am doing better than I did previous seasons, only because I haven't been able to go to as many as events,
Yeah,
and my championship points for the few I've gone to is like it's about where I would have been with probably double the amount of events
yeah,
before. So
but
Hmm.
I do think we're gonna try to chase the world championship.
yeah,
A little
yeah.
bit. I feel like if one of us gets like 400 points, then we have to like really like try.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Well,
But
I feel like the biggest hindrance for me is I'm about to have a child, so
that's true.
that's I
Yeah.
got a gun. I plan on going to at least NAIC. I'd like to go to EUIC if possible,
Yeah, it is
and
gonna
then
be a
maybe a
challenge.
few more closer regionals to us, depending on.
Yeah. I wish we had
Yeah,
closer
I
regionals.
hope and pray a Virginia regionals. We need,
Yeah. There
whether
really
it's
needs to
in
be one.
Richmond or
I
yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think Roanoke's big enough anymore.
No, it's
For
Well, you could
Richmond,
definitely use the West Virginia regionals as well.
yeah, Maryland, DC
I
regionals.
yeah, a DC regional would be nice. They go on to Worlds plenty of
I think
times,
that
but I don't
honestly, DC
see
regionals.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're able to
I'll
accommodate
take up
the
like
Worlds in 2019, I think they'd be able to accommodate the current player base
did they have
demands.
PA regionals? Like Philly regionals?
They
Yeah,
used
they've had a
to.
Like
few.
I
I
remember
went.
they've had Philly, but I'm
They
just
had
saying
Pittsburgh.
They
like
They
had
had Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh.
this
I
Yeah,
like to like
season.
not drive
yeah, this
like
It was
8
the
season.
hours all
first.
the time. Like
Yeah,
well, I'm not driving or but Luke over here is unfortunate enough to take that burden.
yeah. I drive for a living.
Yeah.
I'm used to that.
I've never actually flown for a Pokemon tournament, so
I
I would
definitely
like to change that
yeah,
this season as well.
I definitely would like
Coming up,
to fly like if it's something like we really want to go
probably
to.
probably should have flown to Memphis the 2 times we went, but we drove.
Yeah, that sounds
But
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't a bad drive.
like if we
it
do like
wasn't, but the
uh
flight would have been so much nicer.
they've had Toronto like stuff in Sacramento, like
Hmm.
right? Like obviously we would have to like fly there, but like I'd be down to go to like Canada.
Toronto's almost drivable.
I know.
It's
We'd be
about 8
fine.
hours from
We're
here.
flying if we're going to Canada.
I
Unless it's like right like above like upstate New York or something, like above Vermont.
think that's about where
It's not. Yeah,
Toronto.
it's
I
in that
think
ballpark
it's
area.
in the East
I don't
Coast.
know. I'm an ignorant American. I don't know anything.
Yeah, we're all American here, so Canada doesn't exist to us as far as we are concerned.
But yeah, I would definitely
It's
like
just our
to.
hat.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely like to leave the country for a
Yeah,
regional as
that
well.
like
Because Canada's
would
the easiest
I would
one, but
personally do EUIC as well. Like
yeah, EUIC or even like maybe a London regional. Like if you weren't able to get into EUIC, I think
yeah,
they have a separate London regional, don't they?
yeah.
Usually
I'd like to do like Stockholm
Oh yeah,
that would be
that
nice.
would be cool.
I am kind of
or
hoping they go.
Utrecht.
I
Mm-hmm.
kind of hope they go back to Panama because I have some family ties in Panama, so like that'd be beneficial for me.
Oh
Where they
yeah,
live pretty close to Panama City, so if they went there, I'd be like 20 minutes away. So that'd be really nice to stay
yeah.
there for
Yeah,
free.
Um.
But
can't beat that.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
free like room.
but I don't know Spanish very well either, so that
um.
should be interesting.
I'd be speaking gibberish.
Would would I guess you'd be allowed to bring cards from your native country, or do you have to use? I
That's a
guess.
good
I
question.
think whatever their
Their like language is set to.
whatever cards are
The-
like I know Canada, there's you can use French or English cards
Oh, so they might
because
actually.
it's
They might allow English, I think, in
Yeah.
most regions.
so if it's Buddy, you're talking to the wrong guy.
We're not the
You're at the
judge
wrong
here. We
podcast.
don't.
Well, well, if anyone has traveled international, definitely
Yeah,
let us know
let
in the
us know.
comments. Because
We go to
I know.
Australia, even though it'd be mad expensive. I'm sure we'll be able to use
I mean,
English cards.
I don't know. Australia
it
just
would.
sounds miserable.
I don't know. I feel like that one
living
would be
there,
kind of interesting.
I'd be
But
like to visit there. I wouldn't want to live there.
I mean, you also can't rule out the Latin America regional. Like, go to like Brazil or something or wherever they're gonna
Yeah,
I
host it.
think if
That
I
would.
went there, it'd have to be for LAIC.
yeah,
Like, I feel like
Mhm.
it makes more sense to try to go focus more on the internet,
Absolutely.
yeah,
like playing for those events,
definitely.
especially in our position where, you know, where Pokemon isn't full time. It's not,
No, yeah,
yeah,
we would have
it's more
to.
so we do it for the joy of just competition and
Yeah,
just the joy of playing Pokemon.
yeah,
It's very interesting you mentioned that actually, because I feel like that's a great way to segue us into our next conversation.
yeah.
What
There's
would that be,
been
AJ?
well, for anyone that's been on TCG Twitter the past few days, there's been some discussions on who deserves priority at events and who deserves to even be in said events. And well, I don't know. Some people are calling it elitism. Some people are calling it logic. But
Yeah,
so I guess the first fiasco is the NAIC registration.
yeah. It was
There were
very
a lot of
bad.
top people that got left out in the
hmm
initial wave, and they had some, I guess, temper tantrums on Twitter, to say the least. And you know, so like, at what point should there be a priority for top players? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I think some, like, to me, the top, if you're in the stipend
yeah. Top 16,
thing,
I
like,
think,
that
is
should be
definitely.
guaranteed. But I've
Hmm.
heard some people go as far as say, like, oh, if you don't have 200 CP, you shouldn't even be allowed to register for these events. And
Yeah,
like, just so
No.
it's like, how far, what point is the cutoff, I guess, is the question here.
yeah. I feel like ICs in general should be more open to anyone. Like, I know they're like really big events or whatever, but they usually are like the largest besides like usually larger than Worlds, because
Agreed.
Worlds is typically like, all the ones that have already like gotten their points. So
Yeah.
Hmm. They're the
uh
ones that are qualified.
yeah,
Anyone can.
and you kind of
Yeah.
feel like ICs are like last chance like things a lot of times, even though some of them are in the beginning or middle of the season or whatever. They're such large.
They're your big.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
massive.
Yeah.
they're
And
Um,
where you get your big chunk of points.
yeah, so
Ideally.
I do think it should be anyone's game to go into it. Obviously, the registration thing needs to get fixed out. That's Pokemon's fault for having whatever was going on with their technical side of it, but there
Well,
needs.
they outsourced to company Rain Focus
Yes, yeah,
to handle the registration process, and apparently there's like reviews of just them kind of like essentially taking the money and running.
yeah. That's
I don't
that's
know if this
crazy.
is the same case with Pokemon, but
I don't know if
yeah, it
if
was
they
kind
did
of
that to Pokemon. I feel like Pokemon would have they got that money. So,
yeah.
but yeah, it definitely obviously needs to be fixed. It's something that shouldn't happen. It should be
Hmm.
fairly easy to get into. Beside, like, it shouldn't be determined who clicks faster. I think, I think that's a bad way to do it. But like the biggest thing would be having more space and just having spots available.
Hmm.
But maybe that's just too unreliable.
I think
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard for them to, because they essentially have to predict how much the player base is going to grow by the time when they rent these venues out, because they have to do it ahead of time, because it's sometimes years in advance.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
Yeah.
with Worlds, like we already know where 2006 Worlds is going to be. We only know where 2005 is going to be yet, or
Or
2025.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. 20 years off there, but
But
yes, 2025 to
yeah,
2026. So, but I think Pokemon needs to they need to recognize the game is only going to get bigger because you got to think pre-COVID, it wasn't 1,000 people in regionals. It was a
hmm
few hundred, like up to
Yeah.
maybe like 800. Like that was like high. Like when we started playing, 500 was like massive,
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just quadrupled. Like 2,000 people is like the
Totally.
average now for regionals. That's massive, and it's only going to get
Yeah.
bigger. Like
I agree.
so, like they need to accommodate that. Or I was thinking, someone I saw online was talking about having what they used to do is have multiple regionals happening on the same weekend, and it kind of splits where people go to. And I kind of like that, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. Like have one on the East Coast or
Yeah,
one on the
like
West Coast,
so.
or even different.
Yeah, and they can just split them up like that because obviously we're not gonna go to every single regional.
Yeah.
It's unreasonable to think that, and people are chasing like spending a lot of money to like you know travel a lot to like 10 different regionals or whatever, but have multiple like that. It downsizes regionals typically, and I think that would be some of the best case. But I think that's a pretty good idea, honestly.
Um, but I kind of agree with that. I
Oh,
think that everything
AJ,
good.
your mic kind of sounds off.
Okay.
Yeah,
How?
we're good.
What? Okay. Okay. I don't know.
Technical hiccup. But
My audio interface, I guess, flickered. I don't know. But I kind of agree. I think that they should be split.
mhm.
Though if they do that, I can already see a lot of the player base, throwing a fit like, well, I want to go to this regional and this regional, and
Yeah.
I need to chase my stipend to go to regional every weekend, and so I definitely think if they choose a better finish limit maybe for regionals, or they do something to, I guess, I don't know, to
Do they still do multiple flights? Like
No.
they, because there's
um at
times where I remember
IC.
Philadelphia regionals, they had like two different flights going on.
I
I've never seen a flight at
I
a regional,
no,
only
I
at
don't think they do
IC.
that anymore because so regionals was like 2 days, but now they're like 3 days, right?
Hmm.
I
So
think there's still two, right?
are they,
Yeah.
I thought they were
There's still
like,
two. Yeah.
are they still two?
Yeah, there's
Oh,
still two.
okay. I thought maybe it's ICs I'm thinking of, or three.
Yeah, ICs are three.
But
And the one I went to had two flights for Masters TCG when
oh
in
yeah, because like
2018.
Indianapolis is happening tomorrow.
Hmm.
Yeah, starts
So
tomorrow.
yeah, would be like Saturday, Sunday. So
But
yeah.
another discussion that was I'd say even more widely talked about. A lot of top players do not believe that they should have to go to locals. I guess was my interpretation of what people were saying on Twitter. They were saying that championship points should not be awarded for local events, or perhaps that they should readjust the best finish limit on locals. So, what are your guys' take on that? And what do you think like it does for
So
the game?
I think it's pretty stupid to like rid of locals. I think anyone that's anywhere that has like a sane mindset would say that because locals is so important. It now there could be like the argument of like how many points you get or whatever can kind of make sense, but like there should be room to grow. I do think that the cup to regional there should be something in between a cup and a regional.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's such a big jump from a cup of like maybe 20 something people to a regional of 2,000. Like
Yeah.
there needs to be something more in the middle. You know, back when we started, they had cities and states, and then regionals. So and states were pretty massive. You had like 100 people. Like for that's
Yeah, that
now
was a very
our cups aren't big at all. Like there's probably our cups around that can be up to like 50 to 100 people, but I just haven't personally seen it.
Yeah,
So
I've
they're like
been
in
to
Texas and
yeah, that makes sense.
I've
Like
been to
I think
one, but
parts
it
in
was
Canada.
yeah, it was Will Post Cup, so that was a little more pull than a
yeah,
normal
definitely.
organizer. Um, but yeah, it's very rare to see a cup that big outside of like a day
LA,
two regional
yeah.
side event or something.
Yeah, I think LA and Texas, maybe New York City if they're having like stuff there.
Mhm.
Like that stuff makes sense because they're so densely
Yeah.
populated.
I definitely think challenges. So I see some people's
I
arguments and go on, Lucas.
well, I think because the point that because we're talking about Liam's first, obviously,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
um, is he wants to de-emphasize championship points and he didn't come up with any replacement for it, and I don't know what you would. I feel like restructuring how championship points are awarded or rewarded through locals because I feel like it is kind of grindy at locals. I mean, we
Yeah. We've
see it
been
all the time,
yeah.
and I just don't see what you can replace to other than just like increasing prizing, like
Yeah.
getting more booster
Yeah.
packs, getting more prize packs, something
It
I don't
definitely
know.
sucks to go to a cup. And cups and challenges have gotten way more expensive. Um
Hmm.
that's what
Very
the
true.
one thing is like like when I got sixth place, I got like 3 of those league price packs and like 6 of the regular like Paldea evolved packs.
Hmm.
Like is that for a top 6 like finish? It's like even though it wasn't like the biggest whatever, it kind of feels bad. So um I don't know. Pricing should like be a little bit better. I definitely think. Yeah.
Yeah, prizing is always going to depend on the organizer.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, some are more generous than others.
Mhm.
The organizer is always going to get their cut. They're always going to
Yeah.
get compensated for the time that they put in. Same with the judges. And that's the first thing you have to do when you're an organizer. You have to literally take out that part of the prize pool. And um, I always try to keep mine to a very minimum. There were times I think I literally walked away like $5. It's like for the whole night running the
Yeah,
league
that
challenge.
it does suck for the
Um,
organizer.
just because like it was such small turnout,
Yeah.
and you just like, well, I want everyone to get their support. The prize packs help a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I wish they would go back to like the first, second, third, and fourth place
Yes.
cards for
I
challenges.
stamp cards
Those,
are like actually some of my favorite. I actually have like a first place stamp card still,
yeah, yeah,
Macargo, from a
yeah.
challenge, and I think those help a lot actually because it's something you can just have like something to show
Hmm.
for,
I
and then
definitely
It's
think.
definitely something more to chase for.
yeah,
Mhm.
And I
like
feel like having that, maybe those are the incentives that are like worth having at
yeah,
locals
because
instead of
Luke, you still
championship
have
points.
your states, right? Or is it cities? Or is it states like the top 8 like little
Yes.
trophy? Yeah, if
Hmm.
they
I got
had
the.
they should have those. Like those are sick. Like
Yeah,
I
absolutely. Also, I mean, I do agree with some of their points. Like, I know what is it? They have to do 6 best finishes of challenges per quarter.
mhm.
Whereas they could do a best finish 6 the whole I think it used to be the whole year for challenges.
Mhm.
It used to not be per quarter. So I do see what they're talking about. That is really grindy if
Hmm.
you're going for a stipend
Yeah.
because you feel like you have to maximize every event you do until you get 6 wins at a challenge or something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And we've seen it. We saw one person at like almost every challenge, and he was like, "Oh, well, I've got like 5 wins and 1 second place, so I'm going for the extra 3-point, or like just
Yeah.
that grindy. So I can
Hmm.
kind of see where they're saying, but to kill off locals with no replacement
Yeah,
is
it's
just, it's so out of touch that it's kind of sickening, really, that some of these players are just kind of that out of touch with the community, in my opinion, that
yeah, definitely.
Because I
um
think a big thing to address also is the fact that not everyone has the opportunity to travel to every,
Yeah.
you know,
exactly.
regional in the North America or Europe
Yeah,
and go to all the ICs. It's not feasible,
because it's
I
honestly
think.
like in America, America's huge. In Europe, it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot easier to travel to,
Hmm.
place to
The multiple
place.
regionals.
Yeah, America, from east to west, it's a very it's very large. So,
Yes.
Hmm.
um,
Um
it is quite
yeah,
difficult.
unless you're doing it full time, it's
Yeah,
really hard to,
yeah. I
and to
personally believe like no one should be a full time like Pokemon player that like there shouldn't be only full time Pokemon players that are getting their worlds invite. No.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Some people have talked about really
You'd love to
gatekeeping
see the
worlds.
underdogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would much rather see someone that came out of nowhere, just barely getting their invite. Next thing you know, they're in top 8, and they're like,
Yeah. That's how
and
stories are made.
exactly. I mean, I mean, I love high level play and watching high level
Yeah.
players, but do I want to see a top 8 of the same people I saw in IC or something, because they're restricting who can get in and only the top
Yeah.
players can qualify for certain events? Maybe some people want to see that high level of
Yeah.
play, but I feel like that's such a novelty that would wear off very quickly
Yeah.
when, and I feel like it's just such, you'd literally be shooting the entire concept of Pokemon in the foot by
Yeah.
removing locals. I mean, we all met at a local
Yeah.
league, literally. So like, maybe it's biased, but I mean, I feel like all these players started the exact same way. None of these players that are advocating for this, um, would none of them started at a regional as their first event.
Yeah.
None of them
Hmm.
started at an IC as their first event. So for them to act like, that is kind of just, to me, out of touch, especially because some of the people were at cups that were dogging going to cups and stuff
Yeah.
in the same weekend.
Hmm.
I'm not naming any names, but but
There, and I think another interesting point to it is the fact that without these, the growth of the player base, the prize increases that we got this year for the season, it wouldn't happen. Player base isn't growing,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know.
So for every top player that's doing great at these regionals and stuff, then like 90% are the like O2, like O3, like they're just there to play and give money to the venue and stuff. And
Hmm.
yeah,
like they're just
yeah,
there to, have fun and whatever. And
Because the casuals, they're gonna
they make it
play
the
in the
most.
event when they'll drop when they feel like dropping.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna go to the vendors and yeah.
exactly. And I feel like everyone should be allowed to, like, no one should be, I guess, not allowed to do a regional, even if it's their first like it's their first major event.
Yeah.
I mean, even I was only able to plan for one regional this season, and and I could have gone to more, but it's just partially money, partially time. Just,
Yeah.
it's a
Life.
lot, and when I went to Knoxville, there were a lot of people that were like, "Oh, this is my first regional ever," and
Yeah.
we planned. So like, I think that everyone should be allowed to have that experience. I don't
Hmm.
think that that should be requirement of, oh, you need championship points to participate in any regional. Maybe play points if
Yes,
we want to.
play
And
points
yes,
could I was gonna I was gonna talk about that. Play points I think are actually should be because I think seniors this year for the ICs they were using like play points as a
oh,
priority, but it was only
uh,
seniors, which is weird, right?
huh.
Um,
I know in the like I believe the last chance qualifier they had, you needed 10 play points to compete.
yeah,
And that was in 2014.
yeah.
And I think that was the last time they've ever used play points pretty much
Speaking of
for
last
release
chance
matches.
qualifiers, I do think they should bring that back.
I agree. I do know it's a little harder because you
Yes.
have to do it the day
Yeah, you would have
before
to do it
day
on a,
one,
so
so it
it'd be
would
like a Thursday.
require an extra day of Worlds pretty much.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is a bad thing. I think that would actually help with the Pokemon
I
Center
wouldn't even
problem that
mind
people have been having.
if they don't want it to do it on that same weekend, they have it like a month or like 2 weeks before, like
Yeah,
like just
yeah,
a
I could see that.
last chance, like, you know, qualifier. Make it like a big deal.
Hmm.
Like, have all these people. It'd be a
Yeah.
lot of people. It'd be big as an IC probably.
Yeah, and I mean, look at was it 2013? I think Jason Kaczynski's run.
Yes. Yeah, he
Where
made it through.
he
He
was
made it through the last chance qualifier
last
and then
chance.
end up winning. Like, that's a great storyline. That's a crazy,
Yes,
that's
that
insane.
is,
Mm.
and so some people don't want that storyline because
Yeah.
they want only the top 32 players in the world to
Yeah.
qualify for Worlds, and they want it super gate
Yeah.
kept and
Okay, you're exaggerating.
a little bit,
You're
but
being
that's
facetious.
probably, I'd say, the most extreme
Yeah.
end of that spectrum. But
So
I don't think we're too far off from people wanting that.
I think there is obviously for ICs and worlds, more of ICs where they you can kind of like there maybe should be priority on people that
Well,
have
there's
like a lot of points and stuff. Like it's not going to be a lot of people. Obviously, it should be like top 16 or whatever has.
there should be incentive for top players
Yeah,
to, or
definitely
for just players to chase like being,
the best.
yeah, rank, like getting to rank one, or
Yeah,
yeah, there should be some sort of reason to chase for that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And for
And I think
worlds, oh, go
I
ahead.
think it wouldn't be bad for like internets to top 16 of each region. And the top 16 players get, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
guaranteed
yeah,
registration.
for their region, they should be like kind of like locked in into an IC, like if
They
they
shouldn't
choose
have to
to.
worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
for
agree.
worlds, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds is like only like 60 people, right? They like because
I didn't know that.
yeah, they're it's very tiny because they only do the top like players. I'm sure it's a lot harder to be like a top Yu-Gi-Oh player. Maybe that's kind of
Does their worlds just one day? Because I know they, it's
um
only one turn, and
yeah,
yeah,
maybe
next
like
game.
yeah, I would think so, but them having such a small turnout because it's like I guess where they use equivalent of championship points, like the top, I guess 60 maybe get invited or whatever.
I
But
know they only like first place gets a switch and a few packs.
yeah,
So
that that's just all, like it's crazy to me that that's they're like
they really do it for the love of the game.
yeah,
Yeah,
they stay loyal. But please
that's true.
shower. Um, that's not just go for Yu-Gi-Oh though. That's for everyone going to
Yeah,
a tournament.
including
I
Pokemon.
goes for
Pokemon
any
players are guilty
stinky
too.
ass, smelly person.
Yeah,
Don't be a stinky ass, smelly person.
yeah. Like a shower is like 15 minutes. I promise you, you'll
Yes.
like everyone else experience
Yes.
will be
Wait,
better.
wait. Please wake up 15 minutes early to shower because I know these people be
And
rolling
carry
out of
that
bed
stick
and
on
going to
you.
a regional, and it's like I see you going for seconds at the hotel food. Just get your
The
ass back up
continental
there.
breakfast. Like carry that deodorant stick on you, please.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
never know. And
But
it's turning like over here in the
And
United States.
brush your
It's
teeth,
yes,
because
yeah,
once you get so close, like just it starts to,
I don't want to
especially
be
like
smelling what
regionals
you
when
be
there's
eating.
just, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
Carry some gum. That's a
oh yeah,
pro tip
that's
right there.
yeah,
Carry gum with
carry
you to your
gum,
tournaments.
please.
Gum or mint or something.
Yes.
Anyway, we're kind of
Yeah,
diverging.
we are.
Yeah, yeah.
So for Worlds though, maybe Worlds should be like not as many people. I don't know how like
I think it should be Tord versus Stockfish.
got to teach Stockfish how to play Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be
Um,
like a premiere like event that they do, like a side event. That'd be funny.
can the top people
I'd
play
bet money on
Pokemon?
Tord. I don't think AI could understand the
The complexities.
complex.
I
Yeah,
definitely think it would
they
be
wouldn't see the
harder.
lines
It would be a lot harder to program.
Yeah,
because it's
It
like
would,
you would have to program the meta into it to like give
because
it a fighting chance.
because like
yeah.
you think of
And even then, it's just like
the
I
reason
don't
I
think
think
that's
it'd be so hard to
possible.
program is because of chess. The reason why it works as well is because it's everything's on the table. It's a perfect
Hmm.
game.
Yes.
TCGs, there's a deck that you don't know what's in there until you start
There's
using.
randomization.
Yeah,
There's
And
variance.
yeah.
yeah, you
So
don't know
Chess, there's
what.
no variance.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it would be
Just the better player is going to win,
yeah,
Yeah, it would be like
or
if
the best plays are going to win.
yeah.
yeah,
There's
true.
always a
Better
best
plays.
play no matter what.
Yes, yes. There is
So
a best play in chess always.
yeah,
There's best plays in Pokemon, but there's randomization that
Yeah.
affects the
I,
variance of
yeah,
I have noticed a
getting the
bit
best play right.
of I have noticed quite a bit of comparison between chess and Pokemon and TCG lately. Like I've seen a lot of TCG puzzles, whereas you
yeah.
see a lot of people do chess puzzles.
Hmm.
I've and also just the discussion of like shrinking worlds. The chess world championship is probably one of those kept
Yeah,
like wait things to qualify for, because like even if you get a high standing, I don't believe you qualify. I don't even know
you
what
have to
goes into
have
it,
like
but
a
I think
lot
you
of
have to like
multiple.
win the candidates
Yeah,
championship and then go on to the world champ. So like even really top players, they can be, just one second place finish can take you out of the world
yeah,
championship running, and it's super super like stressed from what it sounds like. But
yeah. I'm not saying um like world should be gate kept that much, but I don't know. Maybe
if
there's an argument for it to be smaller and like
but
more
at the same
I
compact.
time,
think
chess
getting
has
rid of
multiple
locals is
championships
just.
too, so too.
I
Uh,
think I think there should always be locals. I'm
Oh
not saying
yeah,
that anyone is saying there shouldn't be,
locals should always
but
give points. That's what I think.
yeah, I agree to some extent.
I
Yeah,
yeah, there
I
even
think
if
that
it's
they need to hit their finish, like make it 6 for the whole year or something, and that way, okay, if you knock them out early, cool, you're good. You don't have to go to the locals anymore for the rest of the year. You just hit your
yeah,
regionals,
definitely.
mhm.
But you're still gonna have to show up to locals one
Yeah,
way or another. Now, some people said locals shouldn't count towards stipend points. You could maybe make an argument
yeah.
there. But I still don't think that it should. I still think you should be able to get at least a portion of your world invite through locals.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I think if you're willing to invest in Pokemon, as in like going to tournaments enough where you've gotten so many points like from locals, you should be rewarded for that. Because like
Mhm.
even if you do all the local stuff, you still need like 300 and something, like 390 something points. Like it was like
Yeah,
it's a lot of points. You still
yeah.
need to get those through regionals and ICs and stuff. So
Hmm.
that's still a lot of points you need to get. Most of the points you have to get through. Now I guess regionals you can get points from not even making like day two. You can just like do like 6 or like 4, 2, 3 or something like that, and you can still get points. Like crazy, but maybe that's an argument, but
There's there's also the argument of it being worlds not being prestigious enough if there's too many
people.
mid
Y-
mid tier players, as
Yeah,
some would say,
yeah, that sounds gatekeepy as hell. So
It
because
is.
I don't I think whatever you know, if Pokemon says 600 is what you need to be at,
And if you got
then
600, like you
mhm.
got it. You
If
got
you
it,
meet the
dog.
criteria for whatever Pokemon says, you
Yeah,
need for Worlds, if you got it, you should get to go to Worlds.
exactly.
And you shouldn't
Absolutely.
feel bad
Yeah, you
if
should never
you
feel
even
bad.
if you're exactly at 600.
People might like people say like it's like the easiest time to get qualified for Worlds. Don't let that fool you. It's still hard,
Oh
and you
yeah.
should
Hmm.
Oh
always
yeah.
be proud if you got those points to make it to Worlds, because that's a
Absolutely.
lot of points. That's a lot of time spent. You got that, like dog. You got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not easy. We
yeah,
have definitely tried over the years,
yeah.
but
Like if
I
one
mean,
of
if
us like qualified for Worlds, you know how happy like all of us would be. Like
oh
it
yeah.
wouldn't matter who got it. It'd be we'd be happy for them. Like we'd just be like,
Yeah.
oh dude, that's sick. Like
That's our
so
boy.
that's
Yeah.
our. It's like yeah,
Especially with the because I think we also have a different perspective from our locals. Because our locals, we have you know just top what like world competitors.
yeah,
So it feels like we feel like when we do well at a locals, it's earned, and
yeah.
Yeah.
it's
But
not like we're facing you know, just
the
your average
yeah.
Joes,
Yeah,
and
it's like
But
Poke
at the
Dads or
same
people that yeah.
time, you can say it's even a little worse feeling because when you do get that top 8 finish at a cup or something, you're like, "Oh, wow, this was a stacked cup. I really did well." And then you got people like, "Oh, you're not even close to your invite yet, and I need 2 more top 4s or another cup finish." And
just that's a skill issue.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Like
And that's
if
kind of
anyone was like so anyone but my boys here that was like I need this to get my invite, they getting that 50 cent meme, like the two two middle fingers, like yeah, like if my
um
boys needed that for their world's invite, I'd be like, you got it.
likewise.
Yeah. So, but
But I mean, at the same time, like I
I
get it,
mean,
but at the same time, I feel like if you have 0 championship points or if you are at 599,
oh
I think
yeah,
you have every reason to be at
if
any
you
tournament. No one
if you
should
put
make you
money
if
feel
to
you
go into that
if you
tournament and
mhm.
you win it, doesn't matter. Like
yeah, it
if
doesn't
you
matter.
yeah, you paid
It's
for
like
it.
the last regional of the year, and everyone's gonna be super
Mm-hmm.
grindy on it. You have every right to be there if that's your first regional,
Yeah,
and you're local to that area or something. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go drive an hour and check this out. Like you have every reason to
yeah,
do that, and I'd encourage people to do that.
yeah. All right, Luke, what were you gonna say?
just essentially if you paid to be in a tournament, you're allowed to play that tournament. You don't have to because I've
Yeah,
seen some scummy shit with like players, like not necessarily coercion, but they
insinuate.
they take advantage of newer players
Oh yeah,
where like they're like, yeah, man, just ID with me right here and we can do this trade when like they've already started the game. They had a bad open where
yeah,
they started
yeah.
like a lone
That's
Greninja against.
very scummy
Hmm.
and should be like if that happened to you or like
So like
it.
if you ever you have every right to say I don't want to ID. I would like to play out the game.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and
It doesn't matter.
if they
You
continue to pressure you, call a judge. They'll probably get
Yeah,
DQ'd. So
because you're allowed to ask for a draw once, I believe, and
yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
You're not allowed to ask again after that.
yeah. And obviously, if someone asks you to give them the win, call a judge. You got a
Yeah,
free
you're
win,
not allowed to
guy.
ask your opponent to concede.
Yeah,
I have
Or
asked.
or
randomize
flip.
like
Yeah,
flip per game.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll get people to do that, and just watch out for gentlemen's agreements because
Take
I
take
hear
those at
nothing
your
but
own
people.
risk.
Yeah, take them at your
Yes.
own risk because 9 times out of 10, if it doesn't go in someone's favor, they're just gonna be like, "I don't know what you're talking about,"
Yeah.
and they're just gonna totally pull back on that.
Honestly,
So
if you don't know them that well, just play the game.
yeah,
Yeah,
just play the
play the
game.
game.
Yeah,
Even
that's
if it's a bad matchup for you, like any like think a tie might be better, but you don't feel like giving them the win.
yeah.
Make them work for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've had quite the discussion. It's been quite the episode.
Yeah. We've been
We've been
yapping.
yapping.
We have been yapping, but I guess we can kind of start tying things up.
Yeah.
Indy is this weekend,
Yes, it
so I
is.
know this will probably be uploaded after Indy, but it is Friday,
Yeah, the
the
Friday
eve
before
of
Indy.
Indy. So let's go ahead and round and make our predictions. What do you think's going to do well this weekend?
Hmm.
I think Pidgey Control is gonna have
I
a
do think it's
crazy weekend.
I do think it's downplayed a lot. Like Pidgey Control is very, very good, and people need to respect that deck. It's very good.
Yeah,
Um,
Pidgey Control, I think Snorlax is also still really good. I think it still has a good. Both decks still have good Charizard matchup, even with Charizard running
yeah,
like the
Mhm.
Turos and stuff.
yeah,
It's a little more manageable, but it is still a rough matchup for
yeah,
Zard.
definitely.
And
I just
I think we'll see at least a top 8 for some control deck at some
Oh,
point
for sure.
this
I
weekend.
think that's
yeah,
definitely reasonable.
I could
Um,
see two
hmm
like Control or Snorlax.
yeah,
I don't think Snorlax. I feel like Lost Tina is kind of in a good spot in the meta right now,
yeah,
where it has at least 50-50 Charizard matchup
Mhm.
and can just has a not favorable matchup against everything else, but
it's
I
like
would say
pretty
at least has
even.
50-50.
Yeah, it's pretty
And it
even
has
across the
a
board.
good matchup against Control,
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I feel like that's gonna not see crazy amounts of play, but more play than it has been
yeah.
seen
Control
since.
never sees like a crazy amount. Obviously, it's a very unpopular play style. So, but people
it
that
is.
play are
But
typically really good. So,
and I think it's going to be a lot of people are going to be like, I just need to lock up like these few more points. So they're going to take it. They're going to farm the casual players in the
yeah, because that's a
early
very
start of
hard to play.
Yeah.
and even, against, you know, competitive, like top competitive players,
Yeah.
if they prize the wrong cards, if
Mm-hmm.
they, you know,
Stuff they need.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup. Even I fell victim to it at Knoxville. So,
Yeah,
it is. Actually, I'd say it was even worse of a matchup then. But
yeah,
it was Echoing Horn. But yeah, it's I do think it's a solid play style. It's a you might get judged by your opponent for playing it, but it's a
you
meta
do.
call, and I
Yeah,
think it does good against Charizard.
yeah.
And I think Charizard's still the deck to beat.
Yeah, Charizard is still the deck to beat. Obviously, it's
mhm.
won everything since rotation,
Yeah.
right? Like it's gotten first place since rotation over here, or for our rotation. So that's the main thing. Charizard obviously still going to be somewhere. It's going to be played a lot. I do think it's going to do good. I want Lugia to do good, but maybe that's just a next set like thing. So Lost Box, I kind of like not Lost Tina. Lost Box, I think is like pretty good right now too. Both like
Mhm.
Lost. I think Arc Tina decks are bad. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't think Arceus is that good.
I think
Yeah, I think I fell off a bit as well.
I think right now it's pretty mid, but
Yeah. Arceus
I think next
Control,
set,
Arceus Control could
yeah,
work. I do think that like Arceus Control is would be pretty cool to see. But that's just another control deck. What else?
it is a control deck that I think not a lot of people have
Expect.
even
Yeah.
tested against. So that's you'll have that surprise factor against
Yeah.
most of the player base.
Ancient Box obviously could sneak its way in. Top 16, top 8.
Mhm.
I think Ancient Box is
I
pretty good
I
right now.
think Ancient Box just had a good run, and I don't see it.
You don't see it happening
I-
again. Maybe not a
If it had a
finish.
better, I feel like there like you have to really have a good answer to Charizard.
That is
You know,
true.
bust out the Cobalion with your maximum belt and your
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do.
Realistically, I
The
know that.
Charizard matchup is the hardest, I think, because especially with the Turos being in it now, it's definitely hard. So that's
Mhm.
its. But like,
It has a really good Chien-Pao matchup though.
yeah,
Like
I think
very
its other
favorable.
matchups are pretty good. Like versus Lost Box decks, Lost Tina, it's not bad.
Hmm.
Um, like I've been play testing it online today, and it felt really good to play. But obviously that's biased, very small sample size. But
Mhm.
Moon to Dunsparce, I think it's a fun deck. I think it's pretty good, but maybe it's not there. It's just like borderline, like not there.
I've been playing both with Iron Leaves and without Iron Leaves. I think Iron Leaves makes it more clunky and can
Yeah,
make the
yeah.
deck
So
operate more. It just to me makes it less consistent,
yeah, I
and
think
it's nice to get the one shot on
yeah,
Charizard, but they get the return like
yeah.
they just trade prizes.
I think if I ran it right now, I definitely take Iron Leaves out, and I'd probably just run like one Temple of Sinnoh, honestly.
Mm.
Just because some Charizard decks are running like a one mist energy,
Hmm.
but Leaves like feels good when you use it, but feels bad anywhere else.
When you start it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awful anywhere else except for the Charizard matchup, I think, and maybe the mirror match if you can one shot, you know, um, Big Moon. So,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, and they can't knock it out with Baby
yeah,
Moon.
so but yeah, I do think I would play it without the leaves too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Um,
But
you got anything, AJ, you wanted to say about what you think's gonna go?
not too much. I'm like I feel like it's gonna be a lot of Zard, a lot of Tina. Like I said, I think a stall will probably make it into top 8. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people are gonna go that route just because of the Zard matchup.
Yeah.
But otherwise, unless your deck has a good Zard matchup, I don't think you're gonna see a lot of success over the weekend.
Yeah.
Um, unless you have something really wild to pull out that people aren't ready for. But
Yeah, oh yeah, Meowscarada is gonna show up.
I'm invested in the Oscar stocks, dude.
Yeah, you're
It can cook
waiting.
if you let it.
Yeah,
if
if you
if
draw
the
everything
plants
you need
align,
to.
Guys, if you I don't want to leak it. I can't.
Yeah, keep the
Just in
sauce.
case I decide to there's no way I can register for NAIC.
yeah, yeah.
Game over.
Unfortunately,
I mean, I guess I could show up and then see if there's any no shows. That could be that
Yeah,
could be a possibility.
yeah.
awesome. Um,
Um. All right. I
yeah, I
think
won't be
that's.
able to play Great Tuscan and ASC either. I know I said I was gonna lock it in back in February, but
uh,
uh,
All right,
things have
guys.
changed.
yeah.
Um, if we were going to Indianapolis
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
tomorrow, what deck would you bring?
Right now, I'd bring Ancient Box for the fun of it. I think it's such a fun deck. Even if I do bad, I like it. Kind of just does like it's just a beat stick deck. So yeah,
Um,
Valid.
you'll shake your head in disappointment, but I'm running Snorlax stall right
I'll see you
now.
guys.
Oh
If I was going
God.
tomorrow, yeah, like
Oh,
I mean, honestly, I think it
I
is a
think
fun
you
deck
should
to
like.
play.
I
And
wouldn't
I
play
feel like I do
Snorlax
play it pretty
stall.
well.
I think you should play Pidgeot.
I do need to practice that a little more. I
Yeah,
haven't gotten to play Pidgeot Stall too much, but I played up against it, and once it's set up, it is very frustrating to play
yeah,
against. So. But sometimes that Rotom, it's just really nice to have a big hand and
yeah,
just you like, yeah, I've got my whole deck in hand. I don't need to pick quick
yeah.
search.
What about you, Luke?
um, geez, that's tough.
You asked the question.
Part of me wants to say Chien Pao because that's my boy. That's my cat.
Almost told the friend joke there.
but uh, realistically, probably Chien-Pao. I've been burnt out with Charizard, and I wouldn't want to deal with Charizard mirrors
That's
constantly.
true.
I know how to beat Charizard with Chien-Pao,
Yeah.
so it would
That's
just
true too. I wouldn't want to do
I
Zard
almost
mirrors.
got Charizard pilled, so I'm glad I shook that off because I was
But
playing.
deep down in my heart, if I look long enough, I'll see that the heart says to play Meowscarada to Dunsparce.
Uh-oh.
So that would be what I'd bring.
Is that
And I would farm all the Charizard and all the moons. It just
you'd be eaten?
no, the deck's too clunky. Don't it's cope.
It's cool.
It's
It's
definitely
cope.
cope. Definitely
Well,
cope.
I
There's
think
nothing that beats Charizard.
yeah,
Yeah, play Charizard or lose.
pretty much. Yeah, I definitely think we got some solid predictions in, and it'll be interesting to see
Mhm.
how Indy goes, and we can compare our predictions on the next episode.
Yeah, this we've been yapping a lot. This episode's gone
Yeah,
on
we
longer than.
have.
Let's
So,
let's wrap it up here.
yeah, yeah.
All right, guys. It was a good time. We'll see you in the
Yeah.
next episode.
See you next
Thank
episode.
you
If you
guys.
guys,
Appreciate it.
Yep. Bye
you guys
bye.